Welcome to this presentation on the mask of the wounded lover, the one who needs to be fully understood before they can feel safe. My name is Artemis, founder of Sovereign Training Systems. Let's dive in. You didn't become the wounded lover by accident. You became this way because depth got results, and you learned that the more you felt for others, the more you were seen by others. The wounded lover ties his worth to how deeply he is understood. As the wounded lover, you're the one who feels what others can't name. You sense what is missing in a room. You bring depth to shallow places, and you live in the layers others skip past. You don't do surface level. You connect deeply. And from the outside, it looks like sensitivity and creativity, but on the inside, there's a longing that never fully resolves. The wounded lover always feels like there's something missing. Underneath your depth, there are beliefs that formed early on in life, such as something important is missing in me. Others have what I don't. If I'm deeply understood, I'll finally be okay. My pain makes me special. I need intensity to feel alive. So there's oftentimes with the wounded lover, there's this roller coaster of always seeking intensity and then crashing, and then seeking intensity and then crashing. So you learn to feel too long to seek meaning in everything. And somewhere along the way, you decided that being deeply understood was how you stayed safe. These were not necessarily conscious choices, though. What first looks like sensitivity is often adaptation, a pattern that helped you find meaning, identity, and connection in your world. And then the wounded lover eventually became your identity and your very orientation to your life. Orientation meaning how you see the world and how you choose and make choices in your world. The origin. Over time, you became very attuned to absence and meaning. You learned to feel the emotional undercurrent in every room, express yourself with unusual depth, find beauty and meaning in pain. You seek intensity in connection, not because you wanted to live in longing, but because you learned that depth was how you secure your place. Over time, this became anchored in your psyche, and it formed your very personality. Your worth was tied to being understood. You learned that ordinary connection wasn't enough, that without intensity, something felt missing, and slowly this stopped being something you did and became who you are. The reinforcement. Then the world reflected your depth back to you. People were moved by you, inspired by your creativity and emotional intelligence. They told you that you were different, special. And without realizing it, your system learned intensity equals aliveness. So these patterns didn't just stay, they became part of your ego, your self-conscious mind, and your very identity in the world. Now there are 3 levels of the self. We all live and operate at 3 primary levels of consciousness. This is important for you to understand as you transform the wounded lover from being your identity to your instrument. You need to understand how you operate at these 3 levels. You exist and create at 3 levels of life simultaneously. You are a soul, self-conscious mind, and subconscious mind. Most people live and create only through the self-conscious mind, operating through their mask, ego, and survival patterns. All of those are the same thing, by the way. Your mask, your ego, is constantly living in survival, constantly looking for approval from others, and its needs and desires are externally validated by others. In this way, our choices are shaped by safety, validation, and the need for significance. Sovereign orientation emerges when leadership and creativity is aligned with your soul and your deepest purpose. Your soul is the source of imagination, intuition, and sovereign power, sovereign creativity. Your self-conscious mind chooses with clarity, and your subconscious mind powers your creative expression to make it manifest. So think of your subconscious allows, your self-conscious chooses, and your soul creates. In the Hunter tradition, they would say, seek always alignment of the 3 levels of the self: subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. Lower self, middle self, higher self. Seek always alignment of the 3 levels of the self, working in perfect harmony for the highest and best good of all. What is your subconscious? It is your body and your autonomic nervous system. Your subconscious holds the patterns your body's learned early in life. Your subconscious runs automatic behaviors. It responds without you thinking, and your subconscious mind is power without direction. Your subconscious mind is your mask and your ego. It's the one who chooses. It interprets what is happening. It creates meaning in stories. It justifies your choices as who you are. Your subconscious mind is direction without power. Whereas your subconscious mind is power without direction, it allows things to create. Your subconscious mind is direction without power. Now, many of us are misaligned in these two levels of ourself. And the important thing about life and mastery of creation is to unveil the mask and get into alignment with your subconscious and subconscious. These two parts of us should work together towards the fulfillment of our purpose. Your soul is your true orientation. It is also your higher self, your truest self. Your soul always knows what is true because it's connected to all divine intelligence. Your soul holds your sovereign power to create. And listen to me very carefully. Your soul does not need to perform, manage, or prove itself. You are I am. As a co-worker with God, with soul orientation and sovereign power, you take command of the field and take command of your life. You're no longer living through others. You're no longer needing to perform for others or manage situations outside of yourself. The mask sits between your subconscious and your self-conscious identity. The mask becomes automatic, familiar, and invisible. And what this means for you as the wounded lover is until now, the mask has been making your decisions. The mind has been justifying them, and your deeper truth has been completely overridden until you learn to unveil this mask and redeem it. So the realization is you think you're choosing life-giving choices. You think you're choosing the best for you, but most of the time you've been reacting through an unconscious survival pattern known as the wounded lover. Sovereign power begins when your orientation changes. Your soul takes the lead. Your mind is in alignment, and your body builds from coherence and regenerative power. You are not your mask. You are a soul awakening what has been underneath it the entire time. And here's the current expression of the wounded lover. So now it looks like withdrawing when feeling misunderstood, idealizing what you don't have, idealizing relationships, breakthroughs, another life. You're always comparing yourself to something better. Cycles of creative intensity followed by emotional crashes, always like a roller coaster. Measuring your value by how deeply others get you. You're seeking to be understood instead of knowing your value intrinsically as you are. You're struggling to feel satisfied. You're always looking for more intensity, more experiences, even when things are going well. And internally, there's a quiet ache that something is always missing. Envy that moves fast and cuts deep. Mood swings that feel bigger than the moment. Deep creative gifts that come and go unpredictably. Even when connection is present, it rarely feels like enough. So you're silently longing for a depth the mask of the wounded lover can never reach. Remember, you're not this mask. It was just created to survive under pressure, and now it's ruling and running your life and the choices you make, and also the emptiness that you feel inside. At the core, the wounded lover feels, if I'm not in the depths, I'm not really living. And deeper inside, if no one truly understands me, am I really valued? Do I even exist? And here's the distortion. The pattern reshapes your reality. You begin to equate the mundane with emptiness, stability with boredom, contentment with being numb or just settling for the way things are. This is so insidious for the wounded lover because you never get comfortable with being mundane or stable because you're always chasing more intense experiences, which never allows you to feel content inside. So it's an endless chase for something you never give yourself permission to have. And this is correctable, though, in the sovereign training system. So instead of living, you begin longing and comparing yourself. Instead of creating, you begin waiting for the right emotional state. And slowly you lose access to your true self, your soul, your creative expression, the power to live the life you truly love. And here's the health impact. Now, every mask affects different parts of the body. The wounded lover shows up in chest heaviness and low-grade emotional fatigue. Energy crashes linked to your mood. Sensitivity in the heart. In Chinese medicine, we call the wounded lover the connection into the heart-pericardium, fire element. So there can be a disruption in Shen, or the luminous spirit of the heart, if you carry this mask, which means it's difficult for you to feel a peaceful mind when the heart is being dominated by the wounded lover pattern. There's a limbic system overactivation. Intense emotions can flood the body before the mind can respond. And also, often for wounded lovers, there's a nervous system dysregulation, a hypervigilance tied to this chasing of intensity and emotional crashes. And this is connected to those emotional highs and lows. So there could be blood sugar issues, highs and lows in the pancreas, highs and lows in the adrenals. Your body carries the weight of unfelt completion. But instead of finding ground, you search for more depth, more feeling, more meaning, always searching for more but never feeling fully like you're enough. Because settling feels like betraying who you are. You get caught up in a roller coaster of emotions, a roller coaster of highs and lows. And here's the integration. The pattern of the wounded lover gave you extraordinary gifts. You learned how to feel deeply, create with passion, and connect with meaning. The mask is not the problem. You have just outlived it. This pattern can no longer take you where you truly want to go. It's time to transform it from being the identity to the instrument of your soul and your deepest purpose. For those of you who believe in God, your mask is redeemed by your Heavenly Father, and it becomes the instrument to serving your deepest purpose in God. The goal is not to stop feeling. The goal is to feel with a deep sense of grounding and creative direction. Learn to channel your emotions, to lead yourself and others without being driven by longing, to find a sense of wholeness within. You can shift your orientation away from the mask to your true self and then align your subconscious mind to have direction and wholeness and clarity and to be able to channel your emotions. You are here as a wounded lover to use your emotional intelligence and creative depth in alignment with your vision, mission, and values, rooted in your soul, not your wounds. So when you shift orientation, you take your attention off of the wounds and you get self-directed, self-guided, self-aligned to vision, values, and mission. When longing is no longer your identity, you begin to experience a different kind of depth. You feel without being swept away. You create without waiting for the perfect emotional state. There's an inner compass inside you that now guides you, and you will learn how to build that compass in Sovereign Training Systems. You connect deeply, but from an abundance of feeling alive with your mission and purpose. You're not connecting to feel understood. You're not connecting to feel something to fill a gap of something that's missing. You connect from a state of fullness and richness in life, in vision, in values. And for the first time, your depth becomes a gift, not a wound to heal or to chase. If you're a leader watching this right now, you've been the one who feels everything, who longs for true understanding and searches for meaning in every loss. This is the moment that matters. You can make a new choice right now. Unveiling this mask of the wounded lover is your own rite of passage. Every man and woman goes through these rite of passages where they have to stop feeding the survival pattern and start choosing to thrive. This is where your true power is awakened, not by removing the wounded lover, but by transforming it. You can learn how to transform the wounded lover from your identity into the instrument of serving your deepest purpose, from longing into creative sovereignty, creative expression, channeling your emotions to create what you love, from needing to be understood into taking command of the field, from emotional reaction into alignment with your soul's inner compass. This is why I created the Sovereign Power Path. Because awareness of the mask is not enough. Transformation requires a totally new orientation, identity, and architecture in how you live and how you lead others. Neurology is our first level of transformation. We want to release the emotionally triggered stress patterns and limbic reactivity, regulating the nervous system so emotional depth becomes a source of power, not instability. We want to restore safety so your body doesn't need intensity to feel alive. Biology. We begin rebuilding organ health impact by chronic emotional cycling. We want to rebuild the heart, small intestine, the adrenals, the digestion, absorption, utilization pathways, so we can repair some of the hypervigilant damage that's been done by the mask, supporting the body's natural rhythms so mood is no longer tied to energy. And then we want to create a body that can sustain clarity, vitality, and emotional fluidity without crashing. You want to be able to restore your circadian biology, restore your emotional fitness, activate the dark masculine, dark feminine, so you can channel those emotions consciously, creatively, and constructively into the life you truly love. The psychology is dissolving the identity patterns tied to performance and approval. When the mask comes off, you're no longer externally motivated. You shift orientation, identity, and architecture. You reclaim internal authority and command of the field. And you're learning to transform the mask from being your identity to the instrument of your service and your deepest purpose. This is not more information, mind hacks, or stacking more tools. This is a new orientation, identity, and architecture of how to live and how to lead. If you've made it this far in the video, you're not here by accident. You're ready to unveil this mask. Explore the Sovereign Power path. See if this is the next step for you. Tap the link below to learn more, and I'll see you in the next video.